Good afternoon. Ayan. At good morning, good evening sa ating mga kabayan saan man po kayo nandoon. Ito, nag-live tayo. Live po itong ating gagawin ngayong mag-aalas 4. Anong oras na ba? 3:37 na, no? 3:37 p.m. dito ho sa Pilipinas. At ilang minuto na lang po, eksaktong alas 4, ang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Marcos II, Sona. Ayan. Kaya abang-abangan ninyo. At atin pong ipaparinig ng live ang speech ng ating Pangulo. At hindi nga natin alam kung ilang minuto ito, isang oras ba ito o 45 minutes. Kaya mahalaga. Kahit alam ko na ganitong mga oras ay alanganin sa Amerika and Canada dahil madaling araw. Pero sa Europe at Middle East, eto ang advantage nila. Maaga pa sa kanila, magtatanghali pa lang. Di ba? Kaya gising na gising mga kabayan natin yan po sa may party ng Europe at Middle East. Di ba? Okay? Ganun pa man dito sa buong Asia. Okay? So, kamusta na po kayo? At ang MA Pinoy TV ay obligasyon po rin po, voluntary, obligasyon na rin, na tayo po ay mag-cover nitong Sona ng ating Pangulo. Napakahalaga nito para direktang makarating sa inyo. Kayo pong mga busy sa trabaho at hindi makatingin sa social media. Ito yung advantage ng social media natin. Pwedeng audio lang. Habang nagtatrabaho kayo, pwede kayong nakamonitor kung ano ang speech ng Pangulo. Kaya mahalaga yan. Ayan, nadidinig nyo yung background. Kasi eksaktong alas 4 yung Sona eh. Ayan. Background na yan. Ang coverage ng Office of the President, especially ang RTBM, Radio TV Malacanang. Yan po yung naghawak nitong Sona ng ating Pangulo ngayong araw na ito dito sa Pilipinas. Wala akong ibang kinuha kung hindi yung mismong anong tawag dito, RTBM na ang gagawa para madinig ng live ng ating mga kabayan. Okay? So, ang Mike Abe Opinions ay gusto nating makatulong para sa ganon ay may parating sa inyo ang mga magandang ire-report ng ating Pangulo. Ano ang tunay na kalagayan ng ating bansa? Pinakikita na yung background ng batasan ng ating Kongreso. Ayan, pakita ko nga, total RTBM naman ito, Office of the President. Ayan, yung chopper, presidential chopper, dumarating na. Ayan, ayan, dumarating na po yung dalawa. Ayan, pababa na ng likod ng batasan po ang chopper na sinasakyan ng ating Pangulo. Ayan, ayan, yung chopper, pababa na. Ayan po, Okay? So, ayan, dalawang chopper, yung isa yung backup, at yan siguro natidinig nyo yung background, ingay. Yeah, so ayan po. Makita nyo ang pagdating ng ating Pangulo. Ayan, So, di-describe natin. Ang dalawa po kasi yung presidential chopper na laging ginagamit ng Pangulo pagka ganitong Sona, isa backup. Ito. Tingnan natin kung sino yung mga baba. Ayan, At live ito mula doon sa likod ng batasan. Ayan, kita nyo? Ayan, Kita ba nyo? Sa Facebook and YouTube. Ayan po yung bumaba na yung chopper. From Malacanang kasi actually na-late yan. Hindi naman masyadong late. Usually dapat 3:30 nandun na sa holding area yung pong PLNO. Yung pong Presidential Legislative Liaison Office. Yan po yung tinatambayan ng Pangulo habang hindi pa dumarating yung isaktong alas 4. Pagdating ng 4 p.m., dire-diretso na po yan. Before 4, 5 minutes yata o 3 minutes lalakad na yan para eksakto na alas 4 ay magsimula. Ayan, Sinasalubong na po ng mga PSG. Ayan o, kita nyo. Ayan o. Ang mga PSG po ay pumosisyon na. Ibig sabihin, nandiyan sa chopper na yung talagang Pangulo. Dalawa yan eh. Ito yung napakita. Yung chopper na kung saan nakaupo ang Pangulo, nakaposisyon na po yung mga Presidential Security Group. Pagbaba niyan, ang sasalubong dyan ay kinatawan komite. Binuo yung komite. Membro ng Senado at congressman na siyang sasalubong sa presidente doon sa mismong lobby, tapos diretso doon sa PNLO building. Ayan, So kinakabit na po yung hawakan doon sa bintana ng chopper. Ayan. At bubuksan na ho. Ayan, binuksan na po ng ayan ang Pangulo. Ayan, bumababa na ang Pangulo. Ayan naglalakad na ho yung Pangulo. Ayan bumaba na. Ayun. Naglalakad na si Pangulong Marcos. Kita nyo? Ayan naglalakad na ho. Ayan. Nakita ko lang. So ayan po, naglalakad na ang ating Pangulo papasok ng Kongreso. Sa likod po ito banda, sa bandang likod. Yan o yung helipad. Okay? Hindi naman gaano kalayuan yan. Diretso siya sa relax na relax po ang ating Pangulo. Ayan lalakad Ayan Relax na relax ang Pangulo. Sinalubong ng bagong Chief of Staff, si General Browner. Ang ating Chief of Staff ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Ayan naglalakad na yung dalawa. Yan Tapos naka-position dyan yung mga military. Diretso yan doon sa nakasalubong pag-akyat niya, mababa lang yung hagdan na yan. Yan na po yung sasalubong dyan. Ayan na po yung mga yung mga member ng Kongreso at Senado, si Speaker at yung mga member. Ayan Okay? Kita nyo? Ayan sinalubong na. So, ayan na po yung mga member ng Kongreso. Pinati pa niya si nagulat si Presidente sa damit ni Super Ate. Iba yung damit ng Super Ate. Ayan ni Senador Amy. Nagulat siya doon sa damit ni Senador Amy. Kakaiba nga naman eh. Anyway, so ayan po. Nandiyan na sa lobby. Sinasalubong na po ng mga member ng komite. Kinatawan ng Kongreso at ng Senado ang ating Pangulo. Naglilid sa kanya si House Speaker. Pati yung minority leader. Libanan. Siya rin sumuto. Minority. Ayan Tuloy-tuloy na po yan patungo dun sa, naglalakad na sila papunta dun sa PLLO office. Yung pong PLLO, yan po yung Presidential Legislative Office. Yan talaga ho ang opisina ng Presidente sa Kongreso. At napupunta ang Presidente yan pagka may Sona lang. Ayun, nasa loob na ng PLLO office ang Pangulo. Ayun, okay, sinalubong ni First Lady at yung kanyang mga anak. Ayan Nakayelo yung First Lady, nakabarong lahat yung kanyang mga anak. Yung dalawa, kasi yung isa ay member na nandun na sa session hall, si Congressman Sandro Marcos. Okay? So kung puno ng attendance, punong-puno yung punong-puno po yung session hall. Okay, pinakikita natin. So ang oras ay 3:45, so more or less ay mga 12 minutes bago siya magpunta ro sa session hall. Kasi before 4 o'clock, may oras kasi yan eh. Before 4 p.m., dapat magsimula na yung Sona, nandun na siya sa dapat. Ang mga VIPs, sino-sino nga dito? Parang wala pa akong nakita kala ko ba, nandiyan pa dating Pangulong Duterte, sabi ko punta. Wala. Pero may mga bakanting posisyon pa. Pero yung gallery, punong-puno na yung gallery. So yung loob at yung mismo session hall, punong-puno na. Sana, hindi naman siguro 100% yan dahil mayroong congressman siguro wala. Pero majority ng mga congressman nandyan, majority rin ng mga senador nandyan. At yung gallery ay may mga bakante pa. Sino ba mga VIP? Pinakita lang kanina ay si former President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, Speaker. Mga cabinet secretary, ayan pinapakita yung mga cabinet secretary sa gallery. Yan po yung mga cabinet secretary. Mga gabinete yan, ayan halos nandun. At ang diplomatic, ayan mga ambassador. At saka mga taga-department of mga ambassador ito. Halo-halo, may yung ambassador ng China o lahat. Maraming ambassador ng iba-ibang bansa ang dumating. So mukhang okay yung nakatotoo yung sinabi ng Kongreso. Maganda ang attendance ngayon dahil wala ng COVID. Konti na lang. maraming dumating na mga bisita at mga mambabatas both Congress and Senate. Ayan, yung mga ambassador po yan. Mga ambassador ng iba-ibang bansa, siyempre. Yung mga kaibigan ng gobyerno kasi independent foreign policy, ang policy ng Pangulo. Ayan, no? So medyo mahaba pa yan bago pa yung official na simula ng speech ng Pangulo. Although 347 na. So 13 minutes more or less. Okay yan. So pagkaganyan po na nandiyan na mga justices ng Supreme Court, pagkaganyan po ng Pangulo ay nasa holding area na, wala nang labas-pasok dyan sa loob ng session hall. Kung nakaupo ka, upo ka na. Bawal na lakad ng lakad kasi yung PSG na ang nakatayo sa mga gilid. Bawal na po yung mga palakad-lakad na mga membro ng Kongreso, Senado, o mga bisita. Kung meron naman lumalakad na dyan pa isa-isa, mga staff lang yan ng Kongreso. Kaya may allowed silang gumalaw-galaw dyan. Pero pag nandiyan ang Pangulo, wala nang gagalaw. So mahalaga po ito, ano ang ire-report sa bayan ng ating Pangulo? Okay? Naka 1 year na ang ating Pangulo. So yun ang kanyang i-report kung ano ang kanyang ginawa sa isang taon at ano ang kanyang gagawin itong pangalawang taon. Si Vice President Sara Duterte, ano suot niya ito? Kaya ba yung suot niya? Dilaw na gold ba yan? Parang gold ang dating ng damit niya. Ha? So ito, nasa holding area pa. Ayan o, nasa holding area pa ho yung Pangulo. Okay, yan yung Office of the President. At ayun, nandun na rin si Sandro, napunta na rin. Magkakatabi sila doon. Yung pala, kasama pala si Sandro doon sa Sumundo, sa Malugod. So, nandun ang Presidente, First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos, at Speaker of the House, member ng Senado, Senate President, and po yan yung kabila, ang member ng Kongreso, sa kabilang side ay member ng Senado. Yan po sa holding area. Waiting yan. Oras na lang yung, minuto na lang actually. Minuto na lang po ang ating hinihintay. Ayun. Si Majority Leader Villanueva at saka si Super Ate Amy Marcos sa side ng Senado. Nakaupo. May pinakikita. Oh. Wow! Maganda ito kasi maganda ang panahon. Walang ulan. Di ba? Walang ulan sa labas. O yan. Ang First Lady, dilaw na dilaw. Dilaw po ang ating ang First Lady. Ayan. Dilaw ang kanyang dress. Ano bang style no? Parang kakulay nung dress ni Vice President. Parang nag-usap yung dalawa. Iba lang yung style. Pero parehas na parang yellow o gold yung suot ng First Lady at saka ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Si Vice President nandun ako sa gallery, sa VIP. Kasi hindi naman siya kasama dun sa holding area. Kasi nandun lang Presidente, First Family, plus Congressman at Senador na membro ng komite. Kasi binubuo po yung komite kung sino ang mag-i-entertain sa Pangulo habang hindi pa nagsisimula. Ayan. Pero halos lahat ng gabinete ay kumpleto na. Ganda ng halos walang butas na upuan. Ibig sabihin, puno yung upuan sa gallery. Kita nyo? Ayan, Ayan ang Vice President. Patay yung dilaw na dilaw yung suot niya. May parang style katarang Muslim. Meron pang nakalagay sa ulo. Ayan, Ayan, Vice President. Okay, so sandali-sandali na lang po ito. 10 minutes at official na magsisimula. At pinapakita natin ito para alam po ninyo ang kaganapan. Gandang tignan na session hall kasi iba yung pagkaka-arrange ng upuan niyan. Pinaganda. At saka maganda yung attendance. Yun ang importante. Ang ganda ng attendance. Maraming nakaupo. Ibig sabihin may laman. Kung meron mang bakante dyan, siguro ilang peraso. Pero puno. Nasunod po yung plano. Nasunod yung plano na talagang kung hindi man 100% attendance ay majority darating. Kasi naman wala namang pwedeng problema Walang bagyo. Ang ganda ng panahon. Makulimlim. Secure ang area. Buong Batasan Complex. So, alang problema. Pati mga bisita ang agang dumating. Kaya lang napapansin ko kanina pa tayo nakamonitor sa kanila bago tayo nag-live. Wow! Parang hindi naghihirap ang Pilipinas. Ibang klase yung mga dress nila. Kita nyo, dinig nyo yung mga background. Ganyan muna habang di pa nagsisimula. Background ko yan. Parang hindi pinapakita si Vice President, si former President, may announcement na darating eh. Na sabi pupunta, pero hindi na. Wala eh. Si former President Duterte, wala, hindi ko pinakikita rito. Ano yung ikot ng camera, puro congressman, senador at mga VIP, pero hindi pinapakita yung former president. Ibig sabihin, wala siya. Eh, sinabi po ng Secretary ng Kongreso, lahat ng former president na buhay pa, ay, siyempre, hindi ba, wala na eh, ay imbitado. Ayan. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Ayan, sandali pinapakita at susunduin pa, tapos ayan, nanonood ng Pangulo. Ayan, ganda. Pinapanood niya yung mga pinapakita ng Congress, yung mga ginawa ng Pangulo. Ayan, pati yung mga parade. Ayan, pinapakita.
Batid ko na hindi
yung mga ginawa ng Pangulo, pinapakita.
Daraanan sa nakaraang higit na 2 taon.
Ayan,
Alam ko rin na ang bawat isa sa inyo ay ginagawa ang lahat ng inyong makakaya upang patuloy na harapin ang lahat na pagsubok sa kasalukuyan.
Galing, no? Ayun. Dali, ayan. Pinakikita yung mga lahat, yung Kadiwa store, tapos yung mga pinuntahan niya. Ayan, ilang bago magsimula, pinapakita. Lahat ng mga pinuntahan niya, mga probinsya.
Let our Philippines
yung mga project
ever remain undimmed. I know this in my mind. I know it in my heart. I know it in my very soul. The state of the nation is sound.
So, yung ganyan yung pala yung style ng yun ang ginawa. Pinakikita mo na yung lahat ng mga pinuntahan niya sa nakaraang taon at mga project, inauguration, ceremony, at kung ano-ano mga project ay pinapakita. Food security, national security, lahat ng mga meeting, mahalagang mga meeting. Dito sa Metro Manila, sa mga probinsya yung pinapakita. Pati mga airport, pati yung paglipad, yung sa aeroplano. Sa holding area po yan. Doon po sa holding area, PLLO Office of the President, nandun po yung malaking screen at pinapanood ng Pangulo yung kanyang mga accomplishment, yung kanyang mga ginawa sa nakaraang mga buwan, sa nakaraang taon. Yan. So, pinapakita isa-isa yan. Pagkatapos yan, sakto yan bago siya magpunta ng session hall. Dahil nga po yan, pati yung mga biyahe niya sa abroad, ayan, yung mga biyahe sa abroad. Ayan. Mga biyahe sa abroad, pakipagkita sa mga OFW. Ayun. So, ayan pinakita. Tingnan natin. Sandali. Uy, 5 minutes na lang. Maglalakad na yan. Maglalakad na yan. Ayan lumalabas na. Lumabas na ho ng Office of the President, PLLO. Lalakad ng Presidente, papunta na ng session hall. Pagpasok niyan, prayer, tapos pagdating sa taas, tapos prayer, tapos national anthem, at Sona na po ang ating abangan. Lalakad na po ang Pangulo. Nandun sa north, parting north ng kasi north at south yan ng building eh. Galing sa PLLO, north sa parting north yan. Diretso yan, papunta sa lobby. Pagdating doon sa lobby, doon papasok siya mismo. Ayun, Ayun. Ang Pangulo, in-escort ng PSG, wala siyang ibang kasama. At yung First Lady at saka yung mga anak niya, papasok na yun sa loob, doon sa likod ng daan. Siya lang sa harap. Yan na yung pinakalabi eh. Yung tinalakad na ito na yung pinakalabi ng Congress. Ilang minuto lang, papasok na yun sa loob. Ayan. Mula doon sa office of sa PLLO. Ganda parang inayos talaga yung Congress. Ito yung background, lalakad Ayan na, yung pagbabang yan yung hagdan. Tapos kakaliwa ka lang, pagkaliwa mo, yan na po yung pagkaliwa mo, yan yung pinto, pasok ng Congress, ng session hall. Makaway-kaway pa ang ating Pangulo. Ayan na. Ayun, pumasok na po ang Pangulo. Nasa session hall na. At ayan.
And gentlemen, let's rise and welcome the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
Ayan o, pinakilala na. Pinakilala na po ang Pangulo. Ayan o, pumasok na. Kaway-kaway pa ang Pangulo sa kanyang pagpasok. Pero normal lang yan, kakamayan niya yung mga tataanan niya ng mga congressman at mga senador, cabinet secretary, ayun, no? Malapitan niya lahat yan. Okay? Ayan, no? First Lady at saka siya na makatabi. Tayo nakayelo. First Lady at Vice President. Yung nakayelo dalawang yan. Yan po yung Lisa Raneta Marcos at si Vice President Sara Duterte. Ayan, no? So, kamay lahat. Diretso yan. Pagdating sa taas, siyempre, nasalubungin niya ng Senate President at saka ng Speaker. Uy, may nagpa-selfie. Sino yun? Hinara? Pwede ba yun? Hindi ko napansin yun, ha? Biglang kinat yung presidente at babae pa. Sino kayo? Congresswoman ba yun? Buti pinayagan ng PSG. Biglang nagpa-selfie. Grabe naman, hindi mo lang nakahintay, ano? At sisimula ko lang. Biglang meron lumapit na isang congresswoman yata yun, nagpa-selfie sa presidente. Ayan, no? Ayan na. Okay? Ayan. Tapos na yung, ano, ha? Ayan na siya. Huling kinamayan si Loren Ligarda at saka si Majority Leader. Villanueva. Tapos, balik ulit dito sa ibang mga congressman. Ayan na. Papakit na ang Pangulo. Tingnan niyo yung pag-akit na yan. Yung pag-akit na yan, sasalubungin niya ng dalawa. Ano? Ayan na po. Pag-akit niya, sasalubungin ng speaker. Ang speaker at saka ang Senate President nandun ako sa etaas yun. At sila ho yung sasalubong sa etaas. Ayun na. Okay? Ayan na. So, anytime ay bumaba pa yung dalawa talaga. Salalubong talaga. Bumaba pa si Senate President at House Speaker. Ayan, kung sila sabay kakasunod. Gusto rin, nasa itaas lang yan eh. Pero bumaba pa yung dalawa, yung House Speaker at Senate President para sunduin ng Pangulo dun sa pinaka-abang paakyat. Ayan po, nagpapalakpakan na ang Pangulo, ang mga tao dun sa loob. Naku, punong-puno talaga. Ang sarap tingnan. Ganda ng attendance.
On the part of the Senate, the joint session is hereby called to order.
Ayan.
On the part of the House of Representatives, the joint session is called to order.
Ayan na ho.
Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem to be led by Ms. Lara Marie Moscardon Maige.
Ayan ho. So, national anthem muna. Pakinggan natin ang national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig. Di ka pasisiil sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng luwalhatit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya napak may manghahapi ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Okay. So,
Please remain standing for the nation's prayer.
prayer naman po yan.
Kindly bow your heads in prayer. O Diyos na makapangyarihan, manlilikha, tagapagbigay buhay at tagapagligtas. Salamat po sa inyong paggabay sa buong sandaigdigan, lalo na sa pagkalinga sa sangkatauhan mula sa dumating na pandemya. Maraming salamat sa mga pagbibiyayang patuloy ninyong ibinibigay sa aming minamahal na bayang Pilipinas.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma barik lana hada al-ijtima.
Yan, oh.
Sa pagtitipong ito,
Kristiyano at Muslim, ano?
kasihan
prayer.
niyo po kami ng inyong banal na diwa at liwanag upang ang gawin ito ay magbunga ng kinhawa at kasiyahan sa pang-araw-araw na gawin ito, araw-araw na buhay na sambayanan. Salamat po sa muling pagsikla ng aming ekonomiya sa pag-unlad ng agrikultura at turismo, pag-inap ng education at pagkalahatan pang-agat ng ibang sektor ng serbisyo, production at pangangalakal na nagbibigay sa amin ng pagkain at kabuhayan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adzaban nar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Salamat po sa matibay na bigkis ng aming pamilya at lipunan. Nakalakip ng kaloob niyong matibay na pananampalataya sa inyo at ang aming pananalig sa pamahalaan ay sama-samang bumuo ng aming matibay na pundasyon bilang isang bayan. Ang pamilya, pamahalaan at pananalig namin sa inyo, Ama, ang siya rin naming sandigan, kanlungan at bukal ng lakas sa pagharap at pananagumpay sa maraming hamon ng buhay.
Salamat po sa pag-iral ng kapayapaan at kaayusan sa gitna at sa kabila ng iba't ibang pananaw, sa marugdog at masiglang diskurso ng aming demokrasya. Tulungan niyo po kami upang makamit ang mas malalim, matibay, malawak na kapayapaan sa ikabubuti ng lahat. Akayin niyo po kami sa pagpapaunlad panglalo ng ekonomiya upang makarating ang mas maraming biyaya sa bawat tahanang Pilipino. Kalakip nito, bigyan niyo rin po kami ng dunong at pagkakaisa sa pagharap at pangangasiwa ng hamon ng climate change.
Maghari po kayo ng ganap ang inyong banal na diwa sa puso at isip ng aming mga mamamayan at mga pinuno, mga mambabatas, namamahala at mga hukom, 10 ng kanilang mga tauhan, upang ang buong katapatan, ang paglilingkod nila at kagandahang loob na manguna sila at maglingkod tungo sa mapayapa, makatarungan, maayos, maunlad, masagana at masayang pamumuhay ng buong sambayanan.
Itinatalaga po namin ang gawain ito sa inyo pong mabunyi at dakilang pangalan.
Ayun. So, iba-iba po yun. Iba-ibang relihiyon. Ganun talaga. At natinig. Kinatawa ng Muslim at iba pa. Nakita ko rin pala, nandun din pala si dating Vice President tuloy. Dating Pangulong Joseph Estrada. At saka Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Wala talaga si...
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of Congress of the Philippines,
Pinakilala ni Speaker.
His Excellency Ferdinand Marcos Jr., President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Parang dinadend yung boses ng Senate President. Salita ni Speaker, gumalaw ng Presidente at bumaba na. Ayan na po, mag-i-speech na ang Pangulo. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Allow me to greet Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte, the former presidents, our former presidents, President Joseph Ejercito Estrada and President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, and the honorable members of the Senate, House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, and the honorable members of the House of Representatives, Chief Justice Alexander Gismundo, and the honorable justices of the Supreme Court,
Pakinggan po natin.
His Excellency, Most Reverend Charles John Brown, and the esteemed members of the Diplomatic Corps, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin and the members of the Cabinet, First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos, former First Lady Imelda Romualdez Marcos, other distinguished guests, mga minamahal kong kababayan, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. 1 year ago today, I stood here before you, setting forth the plans that we have to improve our economy, bring jobs to our people, improve the ease of doing business, recalibrate our educational system to adapt to the new economy, lower and rationalize energy costs, boost agricultural production, enhance healthcare, and continue social programs for the poor and the vulnerable. Let me now report to the people on the successes that we can now lay claim to, and also the challenges that we continue to face. Last year, we emphasized certain strong headwinds that were confronting us along with the rest of the world in our post-pandemic economic recovery. And the biggest problem that we encountered was inflation. Maraming kaganapan sa mundo ang nakapagpagulos sa maayos na takbo ng pandaigdigang merkado. Bukod sa digmaan sa Ukraine, naroon ang patuloy na epekto ng pandemya. Pinalala pa ito ng pagbabawas ng produksyon ng mga bansang pinagkukuhanan natin ng langis. Nang tumaas ang presyo nito, nagsumura na rin ang presyo ng iba't ibang bilihin, ang gasolina, ang kuryente at ang pagkain. Ramdam sa buong daigdig, pati na sa Pilipinas, ang naging pagtaas ng mga presyo ng bilihin noong mga nakalipas na buwan. Sinuri nating mabuti ang sitwasyon. Sa tulong ng ating mga ekonomista, nakapagbalangkas tayo ng mga polisiya na magsisilbing pundasyon ng ating ekonomiya sa mga susunod na taon. Ito ay nakasaad sa ating medium-term fiscal framework na sinuportahan ninyo sa Kongreso. Kasabay nito ang paglulunsad ng mga estratehiya na mapalakas sa kakayahan ng ating mga kababayan at mga sektor ng ating ekonomiya. Nakakita po tayo ng magagandang resulta. While the global prospects were bleak, our economy posted a 7.6% growth in 2022, our highest growth rate in 46 years.
Wow. Ipakan.
For the first quarter of this year, our growth has registered at 6.4%. It remains within our target of 6 to 7% for 2023. We are still considered to be amongst the fastest growing economies in the Asian region and in the world. It is a testament to our strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Our financial system, the nerve center of our economy, remains strong and stable. Banks, the transmission arms of our monetary policy, have strong capital and liquidity positions. Stimulated by the relaxation of pandemic restrictions, transactions once again have flourished alongside the booming e-commerce that was undeterred by the pandemic in 2022. The digital economy contributed 2 trillion pesos, the equivalent of 9.4% of our GDP. The economy is revived and rejuvenated, backstopped by a favorable enabling environment and the strong rule of law. This year, the World Bank projects a 6% overall growth rate, well within the range of our targets for the year. It is anchored on strong local demand, underpinned by consumer spending and draw strength from the BPO industry and, of course, the steady flow of remittances and the continuing jobs recovery. Inflation rate is moving in the right direction. From 8.7% in January, our inflation has continued to ease up in all regions, settling now at 5.4% for June. What this means is that in spite of all the difficulties, we are transforming the economy. We are stabilizing the prices of all critical commodities. According to the Bangko Sentral, inflation is expected to ease further by the close of the year and projected at 2.9% by 2024.
Tama na.
On
2.9.
matters of the economy, there are many things over which we have no control. But over those where we do have control, we are doing everything we can. Puspusan ang ating ginagawa upang pataasin ang produksyon ng ating ekonomiya. Pinapalago natin ang mga industriya. Dinadagdagan natin ang mga infrastruktura upang mas mapabilis ang daloy ng mga produkto at ng serbisyo. Higit sa lahat, pinapalakas natin ang kakayahan ng mga mamamayan upang mapaganda nila ang kanilang pamumuhay. Ito ang punot dulo ng ating Philippine Development Plan. Investments in public infrastructure and in the capacity of our people through food, education, health, jobs, and social protection remain our top priority. For this year, economic and social services were allocated almost 70% of the national budget. Higher revenue collections will be critical in our bid to bolster public investments. Under our fiscal framework, we envision our tax and revenue efforts to further increase to up to 16.9% and 17.3% by 2028. Revenue generation has improved this year. From January to May, the Bureau of Internal Revenue has posted record collections amounting to 1.05 trillion pesos, an increase of almost 10% over the last year. For its part, the Bureau of Customs has also increased its collection by 7.4% for the first 7 months of 2023, amounting to 476 billion pesos. Since July 2022, we have seen increased revenues from PAGCOR of 47.9% and from the PCSO of 20%. We therefore seek, once again, the continued support of Congress to enact into law the policies and reforms under our fiscal framework. Sa mga nakalipas na buwan, nakita natin ang pagbaba ng presyo ng bilihin sa iba't ibang mga sektor. Napatunayan natin na kayang maipababa ang presyo ng bigas, karne, isda, gulay at asukal. Malaking tulong ang Kadiwa Store na ating muling binuhay at inilunsad. Ang layunin ng Kadiwa ay pag-ugnayin ang mga magsasaka at ang mga mamimili. Walang iba pang namamagitan. Wala nang dagdag na gastos at patong. Maganda ang kita ng magsasaka, nakakatipid din ang mga mamimili. Sa mahigit 7,000 kadiwa na idinaos sa buong Pilipinas, 1.8 million na pamilya ang nakinabang sa mababang presyo ng bilihin. Sa kabuuan, halos 700 milyong piso ang naging benta ng mga ito na nakapagbigay ng hanap buhay sa mga membro ng mahigit 3,000 na kooperatiba at samahan. Maganda ang nakita nating resulta, kaya papalawigin pa natin ang Kadiwa sa buong bansa. Kamakailan lamang,
Yes, Kadiwa Store. Sariwa at
kamakailan
murang
lamang ay nagsanib puwersa na ang mga ahensya ng pamahalaan upang lalo pang patibayin ang Kadiwa. Katuwang natin dito ang buong sektor ng agrikultura at ang lokal na pamahalaan. Our aim is to boost our local agricultural production through consolidation, modernization, mechanization, and improvement of value chains, augmented by timely and calibrated importation as needed. Nakita nating tumaas ng 2.2% ang sektor ng agrikultura sa unang 3 buwan ng taong ito. In our quest for food security, our methods are now more guided by science and the balance of nature, so that production is both sustainable and responsible, benefiting both this and future generations. Our fisheries codes must be revised to incorporate and strengthen science-based analysis and determination of fishing areas. This approach will protect both the interests of our fisherfolk and our fisheries and aquatic resources. To this end, we will seek the support of Congress to amend the code to guarantee sustainable development of our fisheries sector in harmony with environmental balance. Ipinagbubuklod natin ang mga magsasaka sa pamamagitan ng farm and fisheries clustering
Economics
at mga
at
livestock
farmers.
multiplier farms.
Good.
300 cluster na ang ating natukoy na binubuo ng halos 700 kooperatiba at may lawak na mahigit na 200,000 hektarya ng bukirin. Upang mas mapabilis at mas mapadali ang pagbuo ng kooperatiba, kakailanganin natin ang suporta ng Kongreso na maamyendahan ang Cooperative Code. Sa pamamagitan nito, unti-unting lalakas ang kanilang produksyon at puwersa sa merkado. Totoo ang kasabihan, mas malapas basta't sama-sama. Pinapalawak natin ang kanilang kaalaman sa makabagong mga teknolohiya at pamamaraan. Isa na rito ang paggamit ng biofertilizer na gawa sa Pilipinas at subok din at maasahan. Sa balanced fertilizer strategy, gaganda ang ani ng mga magsasaka. Hindi na nila kailangan pang umasa sa mas mahal at imported na fertilizer. Bilang tulong sa mga magsasaka, namigay ang pamahalaan ng mahigit 28,000 mga makabagong makinarya at mga kagamitan sa iba't ibang dako ng Pilipinas. Sa ilalim ng iba't ibang mga programa ng kagawaran ng agrikultura, namigay ang pamahalaan ng mahigit na 50 milyong binhi ng palay, mahigit 1 milyong binhi ng mais, at sari-saring mga binhi ng gulay. Nagpamigay tayo ng mahigit 100,000 binhi ng nyug at nagpatanim sa halos 10,000 hektarya ng lupa sa buong bansa. Lahat ng mga binhing ito ay makabago, hybrid at mataas ang kalidad. Sa naging pagtaas ng presyo ng gasolina at pataba, nagdala ng kaunting ginhawa ang mga fuel at fertilizer discount vouchers na ating pinamigay sa mga nahihirapang magsasaka. Ang mga natanggap nating donasyon na pataba mula sa China, pinimigay na natin kaagad sa kanila. Isa sa mga dahilan ng pagtaas ng presyo ay ang mga smuggler, mga hoarder at mga nagmamanipula ng presyo ng produktong agrikultural. Hinahabol at ihaabla natin sila. Sadyang hindi tama ang kanilang gawain at hindi rin ito tugma sa ating magandang layunin. Pandaraya ang kanilang ginagawa. Napapahamak hindi lamang ang mga magsasaka, kundi tayo rin mga mamimili. Kaya hindi natin papayagan ang ganitong kalakaran. Bilang na ang mga araw ng mga smuggler at hoarder na yan. Mahalaga ang infrastruktura para masuportahan ang may 14 milyong hektarya ng sakahan. Inayos natin ang geo-agri-map ng mga farm-to-market roads ng buong bansa upang maidugtong mabuti ang mga sakahan sa mga pamilihan. Alinsunod dito, karagdagang 600 kilometro ng mga FMR ang ating nilatag sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa. Binigyan din natin ng patubig ang mahigit na 49,000 hektarya ng bukirin sa buong Pilipinas. Nagpagawa tayo ng halos 4,000 mga karagdagang fabrication lab, production at cold storage facility na magagamit ng lahat. Sa tulong ng Kongreso, nakapagpatayo tayo ng 24 na multi-species hatcheries upang maparami ang produksyon ng mga isda. Nakabantay tayo sa anumang banta ng mga sakit at peste na maaaring dumapo sa mga pananim at alagang hayop. Malapit na tayong magkaroon ng mga epektibong gamot at bakuna labang sa mga ito. Samantala, pinapalakas natin ang biosecurity levels ng mga alagang hayop bilang panlaban sa sakit. Tayo rin ay naghahanda sa El Nino na nagbabadyang tumama sa mga darating na buwan. Nagsimula na tayong maghanda at ang mga buffer stock at ang mga kagamitang patubig ay hinahanda na. Kung kinakailangan, magsasagawa pa tayo ng cloud seeding upang makapagdala ng ulan. Kasabay ng lahat na ito, hinihimok din natin ang ating sambayanan na magtipid ng tubig para sa malawakang paghanda sa banta ng tagtuyot. Tulad ng ating ipinangako, ipinagpatuloy natin ang reformang pansakahan. Mahalagang haligi ito ng sektor ng agrikultura na ating inaayos. Nitong nakalipas na taon, mahigit 70,000 titulo ng lupa ang ginawad sa mga benepisyaryo ng reformang agraryo. Tamang-tama ang ating pagpapatigil ng mga bayarin ng mga benepisyaryo sa ilalim ng ating nilagdaan EO number 4. Isang taon mula nung aking unang Sona na isabatas na ang bagong Agrarian Emancipation Act. Dahil dito, ang 57 billion piso ng utang na pinapasan ng mahigit 600,000 benepisyaryo ay tuluyan ng nabura. Sa ngalan ng mga magsasakang ito at ang kanilang mga pamilya, maraming salamat muli sa ating mga mambabatas.
Tagalog talaga.
Ang
Presidente.
tubig ay kasing halaga rin ng pagkain. Kailangan natin tiyakin na may sapat at malinis na tubig para sa lahat at sa mga susunod na salinlahi. Kasama na rito ang tubig na ginagamit natin para sa sakahan. Considering its fundamental importance, water security deserves a special focus. Our efforts must not be scattershot, but rather cohesive, centralized, and systematic. So given that urgency, we have created the Water Resources Management Office to specifically handle the delicate job involving this most precious resource. Nakikipag-ugnayan tayo sa Kongreso upang maipasa ang batas para sa pagbuo ng isang Department of Water Resource Management. This year, we have allocated 14.6 billion pesos for water supply projects, which will benefit communities all over the country. Recently, the water supply of NCR and Rizal received a significant boost from the first phase of the Wawa Bulk Water Supply Project. The water supply will increase as the project enters the second phase. We have installed 6,000 rainwater collection systems across the country in preparation for the looming dry spell brought about by El Nino. One of the keys to continuing economic growth is infrastructure development. So we will build better and more. Our 8.3 trillion peso Build Better More program is currently in progress and being vigorously implemented. Ang buong bansa ay makikinabang sa 174 na proyekto sa ilalim ng programang ito. Hindi lamang natin pinapagpatuloy ang mga nasimulan ng mga proyekto, lalo pa natin pinapalawak. Kaya naman, ang 123 proyekto dito sa Build Better More program ay bago. The flagship projects cover investments in the areas of physical connectivity, water resources, agriculture, health, digital connectivity, and energy. Physical connectivity infrastructure, such as roads and bridges, seaports, airports, mass transport, account for 83% of this program. Our infrastructure spending will stay at 5 to 6% of our GDP. The underlying logic to our infrastructure development is economic efficiency. We are opening up all gateways to mobilize goods and services at less cost and in less time, and ultimately to drive the economy forward. Our road network plans must link not only our three major islands, but all prospective sites of economic development. The 1,200-kilometer Luzon Spine Expressway Networks program will effectively connect Ilocos to Bicol from 20 hours to just 9 hours of travel.
Ilocos to Bicol.
Under the Mega Bridge program, 12 bridges totaling 90 kilometers will be constructed, connecting islands and areas separated by waters. The program notably includes the Bataan-Cavite Interlink Bridge and the Panay-Guimaras Negros Island bridges, each spanning 32 kilometers, and also the Samal Island Davao City Connector Bridge. As of June this year, we have constructed, maintained, and upgraded more than 4,000 kilometers of roads and around 500 bridges across the country. Crucial airport and port development projects across the country have also been completed, including Cebu Pier's 88 Smart Port and the new passenger terminal buildings of Clark Airport and the Port of Calapan. We initiated several railway projects with a total length of more than 1,000 kilometers. Notably, the southern leg of the North-South commuter railway system is now in full swing. In a few years, travel from Pampanga to Laguna will be reduced from 4 hours to just 2. Intermodal connectivity will also be a primary consideration. Roads, bridges, and mass transport systems will be interconnected. This network will provide access and passage to vital and bustling economic markets, such as agriculture hubs, tourism sites, and key business districts. For strategic financing, some of the nation's high-priority projects can now look to the newly established Maharlika Investment Fund without the added debt burden. In pooling a small fraction of the considerable but underutilized government funds, the funds shall be used to make high-impact and profitable investments, such as the Build Better More program. The gains from the fund shall be reinvested into the country's economic well-being. To ensure sound financial management, a group of internationally recognized economic managers shall oversee the operations of the fund, guided by the principles of transparency and accountability. This guarantees that investment decisions will be based on financial considerations alone, absent any political influence. The funds for the social security and public health insurance of our people shall remain intact and separate. Owing to favorable market conditions, the price of crude oil has stabilized. Since last year, gasoline and diesel prices have gone down by 18 to 29% respectively. We have built 8 new additional power plants. This brings to 17 the total number of power generation facilities that have been switched on across the country since last year, substantially increasing our energy production by 1,174 megawatts. Alongside power generation, we are also as relentless in pursuing total electrification. Since my assumption into office, almost 500,000 homes have been given access to electricity. We will spare no effort to achieve full household electrification by the end of my term. 100% is within our reach. When it comes to energy, renewable energy is the way forward. We are aggressively promoting renewables so that it provides a 35% share in the power mix by 2030, and then on to 50% by 2040. To accelerate the realization of this green energy goal, we have opened renewable energy projects to foreign investments. Since last year, an additional 126 renewable energy contracts with a potential capacity of 31,000 megawatts have been awarded. To date, we have over 1,000 active projects spread all over the country. 299 of these are solar, 187 are wind, 436 are hydroelectric, 58 biomass, 36 geothermal, and 9 are ocean power. The Malampaya project has been a boon to our country, energizing 20% of Luzon. The renewal of the contract guarantees continued revenues and energy production for another 15 years. But aside from Malampaya, we will also push for more gas exploration in other parts of the country. The national government has also partnered with the BARM in regard to energy exploration and development, and also its utilization within its territorial jurisdiction. We therefore expect to see renewed investor interest in its promising sites. We finally have a unified national grid with the interconnection of the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao grids. The one grid, one market will enable more efficient transfers and more competitive pricing of electricity throughout the country. However, 68 grid connections are much delayed, according to the ERC's count. We are conducting a performance review of our private concessionaire, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. We look to NGCP to complete all of its deliverables, starting with the vital Mindanao, Visayas, and Cebu Negros Panay interconnections. Habang pinapabuti natin ang lagay ng ekonomiya, pinapalakas din natin ang kakayahan ng Pilipino. Ito ay sa pamamagitan ng mahalagang armas ng edukasyon, magandang kalusugan at trabaho. Malaking bahagi ng pondo ng pamahalaan ay inilaan para sa mga ito. Sa ating pagtahak sa kaunlaran, walang mamamayang Pilipino ang maiiwanan. Para sa atin, ang bawat buhay ay mahalaga. Ano man ang edad, kasarian, pangkat, relihiyon o pisikal na kondisyon, sila ay kukupkupin at tutulungan. Naglalaan tayo ng sapat na pondo para sa mga paglingap ng mga lubos na nangangailangan. Layunin natin na sila ay makabangon, mabigyan ng sapat ng kakayahan at maging produktibo. Hindi lamang DSWD, kundi pati ang DOLE, ang DepEd, TESDA, CHED ay tumutulong sa ating mga kababayan nangangailangan. Ang AIX, TUPAD, TVET for Social Equity, Social Pension for Indigent Senior Citizens, at ang Cash for Work para sa mga PWDs ay ilan lamang sa mga mahahalagang programa ng pamahalaan para sa kanila. Nariyan din ang Integrated Livelihood Program Kabuhayan upang matulungan ang mga maliliit na negosyo. We are inclusive in our pursuit of social protection. The pension of the military and the uniformed personnel is as important, as urgent, and as humanitarian as that of all other civilian Filipino employees. Efforts are underway to make it fully functional and financially sustainable. We are once again working closely with Congress to ease the transition from the old system to the new one, so as to be able to guarantee that no effects are felt by those in the uniformed services. Nagsisimula ang lahat sa edukasyon. Ito ay para palakasin ang isip at kakayahan ng bawat Pilipino. Ang ating butihing Vice Presidente na kalihim din ng kagawaran ng edukasyon ay tumutulong upang tiyakin na ang bawat batang Pilipino ay mabibigyan ng nararapat at kalidad na edukasyon.
Vice President.
We have renewed hope in giving the best to our next batches of students, especially the 28.4 million learners who return to school this year. Learning recovery will be at the forefront of our education agenda. The Matatag Agenda for Basic Education has been launched, focusing on relevance of curriculum, rapid and responsive delivery, and the welfare of both learners and teachers. We are augmenting as well our school workforce. 90% of the newly created teaching positions have now been filled, while additional administrative personnel have been hired to unburden the teachers of any extra load. Taking to heart the lessons of the pandemic, alternative delivery modes and blended learning methodologies have been adopted to ensure unhampered learning. Additional social safety nets, such as school-based feeding programs, are also being implemented. Learners will be made more resilient. Our public schools and facilities are being increased and fortified. The shortage of classrooms and facilities is being addressed. Aside from new construction, schools and facilities are being retrofitted to become ready for the future, ready for hybrid and high-tech learning, and also climate ready and disaster proof. Through the DepEd Partnership Assistance Portal, private sector partners continue their assistance in the rehabilitation and improvement of schools as part of their corporate social responsibility programs. We are recalibrating the K-10 curriculum to ensure that it is always relevant, responsive, and at par with international standards. Literacy and numeracy skills need to be strengthened. The virtue of good citizenship and sense of community are also now integrated into our curriculum. We continue to exhaust all efforts to keep our young people away from the sinister influences in the dark corners of society. We are making available to them their participation in formal schooling, alternative learning, non-diploma courses, or in technical vocational education and training, or TVET. TVET continues to prove itself to be an empowering educational intervention. There are many examples of how its graduates have gone on to secure competitive technical jobs. Since last year, more than 1 million Filipinos graduated from the TVET, one-third of whom were TESDA scholars. More and more of our higher education institutions have reached world-class status. This year, 52 Philippine HEIs have been included in the World Universities rankings compared to just 15 last year. We will not let a student's financial constraints be an hindrance to his or her education. We have activated social safety nets, such as skills development training and youth employment programs. Tertiary education in state universities and colleges will remain free for our qualified students. Last year, out of the 4.1 million enrolled college students, almost 50% were beneficiaries of the country's free higher education under the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education program. Deserving and talented students without the financial capacity to attend school will not be left behind in this education agenda. A culture of innovation, working hand in glove with a culture of entrepreneurship, must be fostered. This is Philippinovation. Science and technology, especially R&D, will be at its foundation. The DOST leads the development of our capabilities in science, technology, and innovation. Science and technology-related scholarships are made available for the talented and technically gifted students from high school all the way to graduate school. To address the challenge of staying at the cutting edge of technology, 44 renowned Filipino scientists in diverse areas of expertise have returned home under the Balik Scientist program. They will undertake research in various priority fields and will be supported by upgraded facilities and R&D funding. The Philippines has launched 2 additional satellites into space. Together with the first satellite, they will track weather, predict storms, evaluate soil and water supplies, analyze shifts in population, and be used for traffic management, geohazard mapping, risk assessment, and even including security and defense. Science, technology, and innovation will drive the quality and competitiveness of our workforce, as well as our manufacturing, export, creative, and service industries in existing markets and in new ones waiting to be explored. The bane of the mismatch between jobs and skills among our workforce is being rectified through strengthened government, industry, labor, academic partnerships, and the continuous reskilling and upskilling training programs that we have put before our workforce. For our seafarers to continue to excel, maritime education in the Philippines has been strengthened. This will progress and solidify our country's position as a global maritime hub through the steady supply of competent Filipino seafarers to foreign merchant marine vessels. The question about the European Union's recognition of the standards of training of Filipino seafarers has, after 17 years, finally been resolved. This development now effectively maintains the Filipino seafarers' distinct competitive advantage in the global shipping labor market. To address the current shortage of healthcare professionals in our country and to help us achieve our goal of universal healthcare, we are greatly expanding our medical and nursing education programs. We will push the envelope even further. We are helping nursing graduates hurdle their board exams so that they will obtain their licenses and join our pool of healthcare professionals. Ang kalusugan ang ikalawang armas para sa lakas ng pangangatawan ng bawat Pilipino. Isinusulong natin muli ang kalusugan ng Pilipino. We are now refocusing our health priorities, applying the lessons learned from the pandemic and addressing the weaknesses that it has exposed. Healthier communities and lifestyle are our advocacy. We have launched convergent programs to address hunger and nutrition-related issues amongst our people, especially the children, like stunting and wasting. Last week, we introduced the pilot food stamp program, which seeks to supply the nutrition needs of the million most food-poor Filipinos. The FSP shall complement our nutrition continuity programs, such as the First 1,000 Days program, which ensures nourishment for the first 3 years of a child's life. The supplemental feeding program is for our children attending daycare centers. The K-6 program will feed kindergarten to grade 6 public school students who are suffering from wasting and severe malnutrition. We are catching up on the routine vaccinations of our children. As of this year, more than 80% of our eligible children have been vaccinated against measles, rubella, and polio. Nananawagan ako sa lahat ng mga magulang na kumpletuhin ang mga bakuna ng kanilang mga anak at magtungo sa pinakamalapit na health center para sa mga libreng bakuna. The whole of society must exert efforts to suppress the alarming rise of tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS. To stem the tide, the strategic plan is to ensure early diagnosis and treatment and ample testing sites and medications. Our healthcare system is undergoing structural changes. Public health facilities are being increased, both in number and in capability. Last year, more than 3,400 projects were completed to improve capacity for specialized medical treatment. Specialty centers in various fields are being established and integrated into our government hospitals. And the last year, additional 60 specialty centers have been opened to the public. Just last week, we inspected the site of what will soon be a 5-hectare multi-specialty center in Pampanga, which will specialize in pediatrics, cardiology, kidney, and cancer treatment. We are working for a more direct, efficient, delivery of services through integrated primary care providers and networks in partnerships with the LGUs and our partners in the private sector. These shall, of course, be supported by what is now a better and more efficient PhilHealth. Ang presyo ng mga mahalaga at pangunahing gamot ay bumaba ng humigit kumulang ng 40%. Mayroon ding iba na bumaba na hanggang 70%. Aside from the maximum retail price regulation being implemented, strategic VAT exemptions also lowered the prices of 59 essential medications such as those for cancer, diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, and mental illness. Palapit na tayo. Palapit na tayo sa hangarin na ang lahat ng Pilipino ay makakakuha ng serbisyong pangkalusugan. Sa ngayon, mahigit 93% na ang kasapi sa PhilHealth. Sa pinagandang konsulta package ng PhilHealth, 21 klase ng mga gamot at 13 laboratory service ang ibibigay ng libre. Ngayon, meron na tayong mahigit 2,000 konsulta center sa buong bansa. Ang bilang na ito ay mas marami ng 35% mula nung nakalipas na taon. Upang mas lalo pang makatulong sa mga pasyente, ang dating 70 libreng dialysis session ay inakyat na natin sa 156. Mga kababayan, libre na po ngayon ang dialysis para sa karamihan ng Pilipino. Noong nakalipas na taon, mahigit 3.4 million na Pilipino ang nabigyan ng tulong sa ilalim ng Medical Assistance for Indigent Patients program ng DOH. Tinutugunan natin ngayon ang ating kakulangan sa mga doktor at mga nurse sa pamamagitan ng mga reforma sa edukasyon, patuloy na pagsasanay at paniniguro sa kanilang kapakanan. Naglagay po tayo ng doktor sa halos 200 munisipyo sa bansa. Lalagyan natin din ng doktor ang natitirang 19 na bayan na wala pang doktor. Upang masuklian naman natin ang naging sakripisyo ng ating mga health workers sa pribado at pampubliko ng mga ospital nung nakaraang pandemya, ipapamahagi na sa kanila ang kanilang COVID Health Emergency Allowance at iba pang mga nabinubing benepisyo. Kasabay ng pangangalaga natin sa edukasyon at kalusugan ng ating mamamayan, tinitiyak din natin na may sapat at magandang hanap buhay sa loob at maging sa labas ng bansa. As of May this year, our employment rate rose to 95.7%, clear proof of the improvement from the severe unemployment that we experienced during the height of the pandemic. Employment then was at a low of 82.4%. But even with our current high level of employment, we must do more. We will generate additional jobs for the remaining 4.3% of our workforce, as well as for the 11.7% underemployed Filipinos seeking better employment opportunities. Under the banner of our fast-growing economy, we are aggressive in our investment and business promotions and facilitations. For that, we have not limited ourselves to the local economy, but we have looked to the global economy for partnerships and agreements. Our independent foreign policy, a friend to all and enemy of none, has proven effective. We have formed strategic alliances with our traditional and newfound partners in the international community. We have embarked on foreign trips to promote the interest of the country for peace building and for mutually beneficial purposes. These economic missions have yielded an estimated total investment value of 3.9 trillion pesos or 71 billion US dollars, with a potential to generate 175,000 jobs. The implementation of recent economic reforms is underway. BOI-approved investment projects have reached 1.2 trillion pesos during our first year, while other strategic investments approved for processing through the newly established green lanes amount now to 230 billion pesos. Our existing bilateral and multilateral trade agreements, notably within the ASEAN framework and with Japan and with Europe, and allow us to leverage our competitive advantages and reap economic benefits. We will continue to forge more of these international partnerships that will lead to a more balanced trade strategy and a healthier economic position. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, is now in force. It is a multilateral trade arrangement with the ASEAN and other countries such as Australia, China, Japan, Korea, and New Zealand. We can now have competitive access to a regional market that comprises 2 billion people. As we address our weaknesses and develop competitiveness in other potential areas, we must also play to our strengths. Our competitive advantage must be leveraged. As a service export powerhouse, we must continue to nurture the growth of the services sector, particularly the information technology business process management sector, and of course, the tourism industry. Our tourism has always been a reliable pillar of our economic growth through the years, providing livelihood to more than 5 million of our citizens. Because of the reopening of the economy and the phenomenon of revenge travel, this sector is headed for a great rebound. From January to June this year, we have received 3 million international visitors. This number is already 62% of our 4.8 million target for the entire year. Mga kababayan, ang lahat ng mga ginagawa natin ito ay magbibigay bunga sa libu-libong hanap buhay para sa ating mga kababayan. To create these investment opportunities, we must ensure that an enabling business environment is in place, that there is peace and order, and that the rule of law governs. We will solidify our country's reputation as an attractive and reliable investment destination. Building on institutional reforms of recent years, we have created green lanes for strategic investments and expedited the business processes in various sectors and investment modalities. A progressive and rationalized system of taxation is a component of the ease of doing business. The CREATE law has made our corporate tax and incentive schemes equitable and business-friendly. There are more structural tax reforms that must be introduced to allow us to reach our socio-economic targets. Digitalization is the call of today, not the call of the future, not the call of the future, but of the present. It is here, it is needed, and it is needed today. Government must fully embrace digitalization to provide better service to the people through its vital frontline services and its back-end functions. Digitalization will support the government's data-driven and science-based planning and decision-making. It is the greatest, most powerful tool, not just to improve the ease of doing business, but also against many forms of graft and corruption. Data shows that digitalization, in conjunction with government streamlining efforts, has significantly boosted efficiency. Notable examples are in the areas of government payments, company and business registrations, issuance of permits and licenses, loan applications, and revenue collection. All our digitalization efforts will be linked to our payment systems, whose digital transformation has been accelerating at a remarkable rate. Digital payments accounted for 42% of the total retail payments made in 2022, whether by businesses or individuals or by the government. Its high trajectory is now well positioned to achieve Bangko Central's target of 50% of total retail payments by this year. The Eagle PH app has also been launched. As envisioned, all key government services are to be integrated into the single and centralized mobile app for the convenience of the general public. The national ID system will be at the core of this digitally transformed network of government services. It will fundamentally change the lives of each Filipino. At 87% total registration, we are now closer to establishing a complete, accurate, and reliable digital database of our own for the entire population. This has already been integrated into the eGov.ph app and can be now accessed by our citizens. Consistent with this transformative policy direction, all government offices must then ensure that their vital services are digitalized immediately. In response to this call, the Department of Migrant Workers launched last week the Department of Migrant Workers Mobile to make the journey of our overseas Filipino workers easier. Because of system upgrades, our internet speed has improved. As of June of this year, our fixed broadband speed ranks 47th amongst 180 countries. This ranking is 11 places higher than it was last year. Our mobile internet speed is now ranked at 83 out of 142 countries, which is 8 places higher than it was last year. There will be more improvements as our internet infrastructure undergoes further upgrades. Early this year, Starlink went live in the Philippines, now providing high-speed satellite broadband connectivity. Our national fiber backbone and broadband ng MASA projects will also deliver high connectivity and high-speed internet. We are prioritizing geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. The DICT has been directed to consolidate all these digitalized government services into the eGov.ph app, to establish the National Government Portal and the Philippine Business Data Bank to improve the internet speed in our country. With our e-commerce roadmap firmly in place, we are poised to take this digitalization drive further and beyond, utilizing e-commerce to take full advantage of new technologies. The first bill that I signed into law was the SIM Registration Act, because we are mindful of the risks and vulnerabilities that can lead to negative consequences. Digital users and consumers shall be protected from identity theft, phishing, other online scams through essential systems and safeguards, such as cybersecurity, data privacy, consumer complaint mechanisms, and financial literacy campaigns. The trainings necessary to ease the transition of those whose jobs would be affected by the shift to digitalization are also now being included in the curricula and programs offered by TESDA, DICT, and other agencies of government. It is our wish that one day foreign employment will be driven by choice, not by necessity. It remains a noble calling that our OFWs have answered, requiring great sacrifice from them, their families, and their communities. We are engaging with our partners in the international community to ensure a safe working environment for our countrymen. And as we do so, we are also putting in place responsive mechanisms for the social welfare, repatriation, and reintegration of our returning OFWs into the Philippine economy. As the world economy reopens, we are witnessing a rise in overseas Filipino deployment. In 2022, the number has increased by 62%. OFWs continue to send in historically high remittances, solidifying their role in our transformative economic growth. In 2022, our OFWs contributed $32.5 billion, or roughly 1.8 trillion pesos to our economy. Several countries have also signified interest to explore bilateral labor cooperation with the Philippines in the areas of healthcare, tourism, hospitality, engineering, construction, and information technology. Recently, we signed agreements with Singapore, Austria, and the province of Alberta in Canada. Our priority is to ensure that the principles of ethical recruitment, fair employment, and the safe and orderly migration of our people are embodied in our agreements with other countries. For example, the deployment issue in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has now been resolved. And as of today, 70,000 of our OFWs have already been deployed to Saudi Arabia for employment. Moreover, the unpaid salaries and other related claims of some 14,000 OFWs who have been put out of work in Saudi Arabia during the pandemic are now being processed. The Crown Prince of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia himself personally committed to me that the unpaid claims of Filipino workers would now be paid. The continued employment of some 50,000 workers and the deployment of many more Filipino seafarers aboard EU vessels has also been assured. The lesson for us is that our education and skills training must always be attuned to the high, exacting, and constantly evolving global standards. Sa pagsusumikap ng mga mamamayan, walang hindi kakayanin. Kahit ang mga matatayog na pangarap ay maaabot, kasama ang inaasam na tahanan. Katuwang natin ang lokal na pamahalaan at pribadong sektor upang matulungan ang Pilipino sa pangangailangan ng pabahay. Patuloy ang serbisyo ng Pag-ibig Fund upang makatulong sa kanyang 15 milyong membro para makabili ng bahay. Sa nakarang taon, mahigit 100,000 ang kumuha ng housing loan sa Pag-ibig na nagkakahalaga ng 117 billion na piso. Ito ang pinakamataas ng bilang sa buong kasaysayan ng Pag-ibig. Wow. Itong nakalipas na taon, mahigit 148,000 na kabahayan at mahigit 30,000 mga Certificate of Eligibility of Lot Award ang naipamahagi sa Luzon, sa Visayas at sa Mindanao sa ilalim ng sari-saring mga programang pabahay ng pamahalaan. Mahigit 35,000 residential free patent at agricultural patent titles naman ang naibigay sa mga benepisyaryo nito sa buong bansa. Hindi pa dito natatapos. Papalawigin pa natin ang ating programa sa abot-kayang pabahay, lalo na para sa mga mahihirap nating kababayan. Itong nakalipas na taon, inilunsad natin ang pambansang pabahay para sa Filipino Housing Program o 4PH. Nagkaroon na tayo ng groundbreaking sa 25 lugar sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. Nagpirmahan na rin ng kasunduan upang simulan ang mga proyekto sa mahigit 100 lokasyon. Kung susumahin natin ito, mahigit 1 milyong kabahayan ang may alay natin sa ating mga kababayan sa buong bansa. The building blocks of progressive, livable, and sustainable communities will never be complete without appropriate and responsible action to mitigate and to adapt to the effects of climate change. We can never lose sight of our responsibility to the future. The economic agenda cannot and will not ever be incompatible with our climate change agenda. Climate change is now an important criterion in our integral national policies, in planning, decision-making, up to the implementation of programs. The potential advantages of such enlightened policies extend to jobs and livelihood, with the unlocking of the development of the green and blue economies. We have learned many painful lessons from past disasters, but we continue to be alert and prepared in our disaster response. It has in fact been commented that sometimes we are over-prepared for such natural disasters. Well, to continue that, we are reorganizing our response teams to make them more adaptable, agile, and effective in times of calamities and crises, with a clear unity of command. Our evacuation centers are being upgraded to withstand the greater forces of the new normal of extreme weather, as well as other natural and man-made disasters. Furthermore, new evacuation centers are also being built, of which 55 have already been completed. We remain committed to global decarbonization goals and the reduction of our carbon footprint. We preserve and protect the treasure that is our forests. Their value to the environment, to the ecology, and the economy is incalculable. We have adopted the concept of the circular economy, using nature as our model. The aim is to keep raw materials in a closed loop. In our world with scarce resources, the circular economy allows us to fully use these resources minimize waste, and reduce the need for new resources, just as it is in nature. Just like our climate change action, this new system requires the participation of all sectors of society, up to each individual citizen, for it to succeed. Only a whole of government and whole of society approach will enable us to do all of these. It is necessary to apply all the resources that are at hand if we are to progress as quickly as we need to. Collaboration is the key between and among government offices, and between government and the private sector, between industries and the academe, between government and international partners, and most importantly, collaboration between and among our populace. Kakailanganin natin ang tulong at kakayahan ng buong pamahalaan at ng buong bansa. And so we shall do the same for the next 5 years. We seek not only to become more effective, but more, to become truly transformative. This approach will be operationalized through the interagency cooperations, as well as through coordinated efforts between and among the three branches of government and the independent constitutional bodies. We have organized private sector advisory councils and national local mechanisms to establish the needed linkages. Once again, on this same principle, I urge the government to enact a new government procurement law and a new government auditing code. This to make government procurement and auditing more attuned to these changing times. We will give effect to the mandate of the Constitution and the Local Government Code as clarified by the Supreme Court very soon. Almost all the required devolution transition plans of the LGUs are done. To fully prepare them for optimal devolution, the necessary technical and financial assistance is being extended to our local governments. In everything that we do, the enduring Filipino quality of bayanihan will still be our guide. 5 taon mula nung matinding kaguluhan, babangon na ang Marawi City. Nanunumbalik na ang sigla sa pamayanan, maraming proyekto ang nakumpleto at mga infrastrukturang naitatayo. Kasalukuyan na tayo nagpoproseso ng tulong pinansyal para sa mga biktima ng Marawi Siege upang sila ay makapagsimula muli. Naway mamayani ang pag-asa. Naway magpatuloy ang pagkakaisa, pagmamatyag at paghahangad ng kapayapaan at kaunlaran. We are proud of the progress that the BARM has taken. It will be self-governing. It will be self-governing, it will be progressive, and it will be effective. But this was only made possible because of the cooperation of all key groups. We talked to the local governments, the royal families, the MNLF, the IMLF, MILF. We're all consulted and represented in this transition phase. The international community has also supported us in this smooth transition. Former adversaries are now partners in peace. Its functions have been defined and its basic laws are now being written. Through the BARM, we have strengthened the nation's prospects for finally achieving sustainable progress anchored on a true and lasting peace in southern Philippines. We will continue to support the progress of the BARM, apace with our singular vision for all Filipinos. A strong and stable rule of law will strengthen the foundation of our transformation. Our police and armed forces are being strengthened and modernized to be more effective in maintaining peace and order and in defending our sovereignty. We fully support the judiciary's efforts to improve the justice system and to protect constitutional rights. The campaign against illegal drugs continues, but it has taken on a new face. It is now geared towards community-based treatment, rehabilitation, education, and reintegration to curb drug dependence amongst our affected citizenry. Last year, we launched the Buhay Ingatan Drogay Ayawan or BIDA program and established an additional 102 Balay Silangan Reformation Centers nationwide. We will relentlessly continue our fight against drug syndicates, shutting down their illegal activities, we will shut down their activities and dismantle their network of operations. Unscrupulous law enforcers and others involved in the highly nefarious drug trade have been exposed. I will be accepting their resignations. In their stead, we will install individuals with unquestionable integrity who will be effective and trustworthy in handling the task of eliminating this dreaded and corrosive social curse. We cannot tolerate corruption or incompetence in government. For almost half a century, some of our fellow Filipinos have taken to arms to make their views known and felt. We are now at the point in our history when their armed struggle has evolved. We have now progressed together towards peace and development. We have incorporated capacity building and social protection into our reintegration programs to guarantee full decommissioning of former combatants. Through community development and livelihood programs, the barangay development and enhanced comprehensive local integration programs have been effective in addressing the root cause of conflict in the countryside. To complete this reintegration process, I will issue a proclamation granting amnesty to rebel returnees, and I ask Congress to support me in this endeavor. Our journey to progress requires not only unity and social cohesion amongst our people. It is also imperative that our nation remains intact and inviolable, our sovereignty preserved. We will protect our sovereign rights and preserve our territorial integrity in defense of a rules-based international order. With our national interest paramount, we will always pursue constant dialogue and diplomatic approaches to the resolution of any issue that may arise. So the initial results of our efforts inspire confidence. Let us continue to be relentless in our aspiration of peace and progress. This has not been the work of a single person, neither a single branch of government, nor even the whole government acting alone. This is the collective synergy achieved by all Filipinos working together. It took a whole-of-nation effort to achieve this immediate recovery from our pandemic slump. Unity was what made us rise once more. Nagsisimula pa lamang tayo. Ang pagbangon ng ating bayan ay magpapatuloy pa. Hinihiling ko ang inyong tiwala at pakikiisa. Sa ganitong paraan, makakamtan natin ang ating tanging hangarin, ang maginhawa, matatag at panatag na buhay para sa lahat ng Pilipino. Makikipagtulungan tayo ng mabuti sa Kongreso para sa mga mahahalagang batas na kinakailangan para sa ating tuloy-tuloy na pag-ahon. And once again, I appeal to Congress for its support for the following priority legislations. The essential tax measures under our medium-term fiscal framework, such as excise tax on single-use plastics, VAT on digital services, rationalization of mining fiscal regime, motor vehicle users charge, road users tax, the military and uniform personnel pension, amendment of the Fisheries Code, amendment of the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act, amendment of the Cooperative Code, new government procurement law, new government auditing code, anti-financial account scamming, Tatak Pinoy law, the blue economy law, ease of paying taxes, LGU income classification, and the Philippine Immigration Act. In the past year, it has been a source of great hope and optimism to me to now know that there is an enormous pool of highly competent and dedicated workers serving in our government. It is up to us to provide good leadership and guidance. They love the Philippines and have responded to our call. I have stated before that my confidence in our future was grounded in our world-class quality workforce, be they the farmers in the field, corporate giants, government officials, school teachers, health workers, or employees. That confidence has been further buoyed by the demonstration of love for the Philippines. Every Filipino has unanimously risen to the challenge that we have made to them to be part of our nation's future. Handa silang maghandog ng tulong dahil mahal nila ang kanilang kapwa Pilipino at mahal na mahal nila ang Pilipinas. And thus, with this in my heart, I know that the state of the nation is sound and is improving. Dumating na po ang bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po.
Ayun. Wow. Grabe, ano? Eksaktong 1 hour and 10 minutes. Kasi alas 5:17 na ho ng hapon. Nag-umpisa ng 4:07. Sige, ayan na, dali ha. Grabe, ano ha? So, inuulit ko, eksakto po na 1 hour and 10 minutes ang speech ng ating Pangulo. Inurasan ko yan. 4:07 siya nag-start, natapos ng 5:17. Ayan, 5:80 na ngayon, pero tapos na. So, 1 hour and 10 minutes, pero grabe. Nakakalulang mga project, nakakalulang mga plano, at nagawa na at gagawin pa. Ayan na ho. Ayan na, nag-adyo na po ito. Pakinggan nyo, tinatapos na. Ayan, tapos na yan. Ayan o, pinapalakpakan ni Speaker at saka ni Senate President. Ayan o. So, tapos na, officially. Wow, napakaraming nabanggit. Nandun yung mga dalawang dating speaker, si Speaker, sino ba yan? De Venecia at saka Belmonte nandun. Pero wala yun. Nandun din si dating Pangulong Joseph Estrada. Ang wala ay si former President Duterte na sabi pupunta pero di dumating. Ewan ko kung bakit. So, naku, lahat ay pinag-usapan. Andali, itong ating microphone. Okay lang yan. Pasensya na po kayo. Hindi natin maaayos mabuti. Basta mahalaga narinig po ninyo. Andali lang ha. Okay. Kung yung mapapansin, pagdating sa issue ng masa, farmers, manggagawa, drivers, kalusugan, lahat, Tagalog ang ginamit na lingwahe ng ating Pangulo. Direkta sa masa. Yung mga issue sa food security, yung mga farmers, at yung mga marginalized sector. Okay? So, mahaba yung ginamit niya, yung nagtagalog siya. Ayan o, kinakami na yung Pangulo, papalabas na ko yan. Tuloy-tuloy na palabas yan. Tapos na yan, tapos mga reaksyon na. Nakakalula itong mga sinabi, ano? Ang titindi na, no? Mga project at ginawa. Lahat to. Tungkol sa lahat pinansin. Kalusugan. Ano natin, yung ekonomiya, ang inuna niya. About economy, talagang ino kasi ang buhay. Palakasin ang ekonomiya para may pera at magkatrabaho ang Pilipino. Okay? So, tungkol sa ekonomiya, tungkol sa food security, tungkol sa kalusugan, tungkol sa education, tungkol sa OFW, tungkol sa military, ayan o, tinalakay lahat yan. Tungkol sa pakipag-ugnayan sa mga negosyante, tungkol sa mga program ng mga ayuda, katulad ng food stamp program na nagsimula na isang araw, tiniyak ang mga pagkain. So, yung technology, yung tungkol sa pabahay, tungkol sa information technology nga na pag-i-improve, DICT, at 2 beses nga nabanggit niya kalagayan ng OFW. So hindi kayo nakakalimutan mga OFW, kasama kayo sa mga nakapokus sa Pangulo sa nakaraang taon at itong gagawin pa niya. Yung pagpapalakas sa mga cooperative law, kailangan palakasin ng kooperatiba, di ba? At yung ekonomiya nga, mukhang gaganda nga. At higit sa lahat, pati yung inflation daw, ang ganda na sinabi niya, maaasa sila sa 2024, aabot na lang ng 2.9% ang inflation. Yan ang sinasabi ng ating Pangulo. So, tungkol sa elektrisidad, binanggit din po, halos lahat. Pati yung pahapyaw na banggit, yung tungkol sa karapatan natin, yung teritoryo natin, alam mo naman, may controversy sa West Philippine Sea. Hindi man niya binanggit ng West Philippine Sea, pero yung sinasabing karapatan, ilaban yung ating sarili, yun na yun. Baka yung iba, naghahanap pa dyan detalyado. Yun na yun. Yung kampanya laban sa controversial na illegal drugs, tuloy, continuous daw yan. Kampanya laban sa graft in corruption, talagang hindi daw ito tolerate yan. So, ang dami ng nabanggit ng ating Pangulo. Pati yung private sector na ano ba ito, yung National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. Sinabi niya Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao dapat mag-improve ang elektrisidad supply. Elektrisidad, IT, information technology, connection ng internet connection, lumakas, so kumpleto. Pati eskwelahan, pati pagpapaaral ng mga bata, pag-aaral ng mga bata. At binanggit pa si Vice President Sara Duterte dahil siya ang sekretary niya. Naku, grabe na ho yung mga selfie naman. Pa-picture itong mga nakita ko lang sa monitor, mga picture na ho yung mga congressman sa ating presidente. So yun, pati yung mga tulay, ang daming pagdudugtong-dugtungin. Yung plano na Ilocos to Bicol na transportation, Cavite, Bataan, Corregidor, Cavite, Corregidor, Bataan, tuloy na. At yung iba pa mga project na tuloy-tuloy ho sa mga probinsya. 195 o 194 infrastructure projects sa ilalim ng kanyang administration. Yung isang maganda rin, inulit pa nga niya, yung 57 billion na utang ng mga farmers, wala na yan kasi nasa batas. Ang tindi, pag inisa-isa natin dito, hanggang hating gabi tayo. Pero nire-recap lang ho natin. At yung iba ay bukas natin tatalakayin naman. Sa dumahaba na, naka 1 hour. 1 hour and 46 minutes na tayo, pero napakahalaga po nun. Okay, so binasa ng Pangulong Marcos ang lahat ng kanyang mga ginawa at gagawin pa. Okay? At malinaw. Yun ang ngayon lang medyo mapahaba yung speech niya dahil usually sa kanyang mga speech maiksi lang, pero ito, Sona nga ito State of the Nation Address. Kanyang idinitalye ang kanyang nagawa at gagawin pa. Nagawa ng nakaraang taon at gagawin ito sa susunod na taon. Pati mga proposed bill na kanyang hinihiling sa Kongreso. So ayan, more or less. May kanya-kanyang reaksyon na ang mga taong bayan dito. Ako naman, dito ho sa Mike Abe Opinions sa YouTube and Facebook page. Kaya ko inilive para ho kayo inyong madinig. Malaya po kayo makapag-comment o react kung ano yung interpretation, ano inyong masasabi dyan. Basta wala lang away. Kanya-kanya ho ng opinion, kanya-kanya ng interpretation. Respeto lang. Ang mahalaga nadinig nyo ang kabuuan. Dahil mula sa umpisa, hindi pa nga nag-uumpisa hanggang pagbaba pa na siya ng chopper, nilive na natin. Kaya nga, naka 1 hour and 47 minutes na tayo. Pero yung kanyang speech ay talagang mabot ko ng 1 hour and 10 minutes. Inuulit ko, nag-umpisa ng 4:07 ng hapon, natapos ng 5:17. Kaya eksaktong 1 hour and 10 minutes sa aking pagtingin sa schedule na yan, sa oras na yan, at yung mga palakpakan ng mga tao. So, nire-recap lang ho natin para magpahinga rin kayo. Inuulit ko walang away. Kung ano inyong nadinig, may kanya-kanya kayong paniniwala. Pero sa comment na aking nabasa rito, sa YouTube and Facebook page, maraming natutuwa. Meron nga naiyak pa. Okay? So, okay na okay yan. Live na live naman inyo napanood. Walang kabawas-bawas, wala rin kulang. Walang dagdag. Kompleto ang kabuang speech ng Pangulo. Nandun pa rin po siya. Ayan, katabi pa si mga kongresista, kasama pa nga si Vice President. Ayan, ang kulay yellow yan. Ano bang klaseng damit yung suot ni Vice President? Ayan. Tausog ba yan? Mindanao, na yellow, parang gold na merong sa ulo. So, nandun si Erap, katabi rin. Tsaka si Super Atim, kakatabi sila. Mga senador. Yung mag-amang Erap, magkatabi. Si Jinggoy. Yung magkapatid, nagpa-picture pa, si Vice President. Si Vice President Duterte at saka si Amy Marcos at ang Pangulo. Nandun po siya sa session hall. So, ayan lang muna ang atin hong pagre-recap. Bukas ng umaga, maglalib ulit tayo para atin pong muling ipaliwanag ang mga detalye nitong sonang ito. Napakahalaga po niya sa ating mga Pilipino dito at sa abroad. Hopefully, ay sa maliit na paraan ay ako po yung nakatulong sa inyo na iparating ko sa inyo ng malinaw ang laman ng sona ng ating Pangulo. Yan po yung aking layunin lang. Kung ano man ang inyong paniniwala, kanya-kanya po yan. Pero wala lang away. Kanya-kanya lang interpretation at opinion. Salamat po. Salamat. God bless. God is good all the time. Pati panahon ang ganda. Kahit na may mga rally-rally dyan sa kanto, pero wala yan. Ang importante, natapos yung Sona, na i-deliver ang Sona ng maayos. Security, maayos din. So ngayon, uwian na yan. At kanya-kanyang interview, reaksyon sa mga nadinig. Pare-pares naman tayo nakinig. Kanya-kanya tayo ng paniniwala at observation. Mabuhay ang ating bansa. Mabuhay ang mga Pilipino dito at sa abroad. Saan man kayo nandoon? Kahit ng iba dyan nagpuyat, alam ko maalanganing oras doon sa ibang lugar, nagpuyat, yung iba bagong gising, pero sinamahan po ninyo ako sa ating live. Nakaka 1 hour and 50 minutes na tayo. Kaya babay na muna. See you tomorrow. Mike Abe Opinions, YouTube and Facebook page. Salamat po. Salamat din na nakapansin na maganda raw yung barong ko. Okay po. Minsan-minsan lang tayo nagbabarong pero okay lang yan. Kailangan natin po. Thank you. Salamat po muli. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.